Welcome to the 420 edition. You know what time it is. WinDailySports.com. We had a great Tuesday night. The Mets won 2 games in one day, so I'm happy. Adam, how was your Tuesday night, and what are you looking forward to on Wednesday? We have two slates on DraftKings and FanDuel, one early, one late.
Yeah, I mean Tuesday's been pretty good so far. Still waiting on a couple bets to make it a good night for sure. Corey Seager, I need you to hit at least one more single, my guy, and after that I'll be pretty much set. But then tomorrow, I think one of the most interesting things is to see what does Mackenzie Gore do in his second start, because I think there were some encouraging things in the first one. There are some things that would lead him into trouble if he continues to do, and then see how he fares against the Reds this time out, because it should be a little bit of an easier matchup than the Atlanta Braves offense in your first major league start.
100%, man. You called out the Gore the first time around. I called out Chris Archer on Tuesday night. He just got there, almost had a kind of great night at his price tag on DraftKings. I said it was a GPP only play. He got there for around 11, 12 points at his price tag. It paid off, and we paired him up with Corbin Burns. I locked in Burns, told everybody on Monday night, just go Burns. Don't try to get cute. Now, do we have the same confidence in our ace of a slate, early slate? Woodruff has been kind of not so great, but this is a dream matchup here against Pittsburgh at home. Thoughts on Woodruff as your early slate, ace of the slate?
Yeah, we do not have the same level of confidence.
Ooh,
There's just really
ooh.
no way around. Woodruff has been bad early on this year. Now, when you break open the metrics, he only has 4 strikeouts, and something like that's terrifying for me. He's only made it through 8 1/3 innings. The xFIP is just about 6. I mean, everything looks poor for him right now. It's really kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what's going on, because it's not like the velocity is down. His pitch mix looks similar to last year. It's really, really tough to pin down what's going on. So I'm going to go full steam ahead here and play a lot of Woodruff and hope the Pirates kind of solve some of his woes. It's not a very good offense. He's been bad against lefties so far this year. That scares me, but it's still a bad lefty heavy offense in the Pirates.
Yeah, it's an early slate. There's not too many games to decide from. I think he's the safest play. Vegas has it at minus 240 that the Brewers going to win. Over under is 8. So you have one of the lowest gain totals, which I like to see. You got him at minus 240 to win. Look, he's priced up, and you don't have to play him. He's not a must play by any means because he's been ice cold, but an early slate with a Coors Field game, even though both these offenses kind of suck, like the Phillies are terrible. They're scoring a little bit, tonight, but they're not so good, man. They're really not good. Marquez and Eflin, two decent pitchers here. So I'm most likely going to go Woodruff in the early slate. Now, talk about your boy Gore, man. Tell me what we need to see from Gore to go out there and hit value on a Wednesday afternoon.
What we need to see is more off speed, whether he feels more comfortable with his curve, whether he wants to throw the slider. The highlight package that I sent you the night before his first start, the big thing was the slider. It's wipeout when it's on. It's terrifying to try and hit. He only threw 7 of them in that first start. He threw that fastball over 72% of the time. It sits at 95. It's a good fastball, but man, 95 miles an hour, 72% of the time is not going to get it done in the major leagues. He's got to move towards some different stuff. And when you look, he only generated a swing strike rate of 6.8%. That's not anything great. And the xFIP was 4.38. He kept the ball on the ground 46.7% of the time. That's useful. Cincinnati's terrible against lefties so far, 26th or worse, and OPS, WOBA, WRC plus. They're striking out 27% of the time. This is a far easier matchup based on the stats that we have so far this season. Man, he's got to start breaking something else out here.
I'll tell you this, man. If Gore can last 5 innings and the Padres put a W on the board for him, I think he hits value. Without the
Yeah.
win, it's going to be a little bit tougher there. He's a minus 190 favorite, over under 8.5 here. Pretty good spot for value. Now, one thing I do want to mention, we skipped over a guy named Shane Bieber. Is it because the offense that he's going against? Is it because of the price tag on DraftKings? Would you play him on FanDuel in a one pitcher slate? Where are you at with Shane Bieber here?
Yeah, I think it's some of what you mentioned, and it's some of just he
Pitch
hasn't
count?
quite come back. It's not only that, but he hasn't quite come back to himself yet. He is coming off the arm injury. Now he's almost $11,000. And it's kind of hard to understand why. Like his velocity's down across the board, the whiff rate's down on all of his pitches. Like he's not a bad pitcher by what he's put out this season, but he's not been going to be worth $11,000 if he pitches the exact same way. And it's kind of a bummer because like this is a really good time to hit the White Sox because they really haven't gotten going against rating pitching. Like they're in the bottom 3 in OPS on base. They're only walking 5.6% of the time. But with Bieber, like he hasn't been below 30% for a strikeout rate since his rookie season in 2018. It's only been 24.3%. And seeing a velocity drop off an arm issue, it's not the greatest thing to see at this point of the season.
Yeah, so let's turn it over to the stacks that we like in this early slate. I've been playing Milwaukee for the past 2 days. It's paid off the past 2 days. Yelich got me to cash, on Monday, and then it was Tellez, Wong, and the rest of the crew who got me there on Tuesday. They get a nice little matchup here against Pittsburgh at home again. Mitch Keller has been pretty awful here. So I think that's the best way to go. That's the gas can. That's the stack that I'm going to be going with. And to pair them up, I think I'm going to lean with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers have the best lineup going right now. I'm sick of playing Phillies. I'm not going to be targeting the Rockies either. I think that game is going to be a tough fade. And hopefully, the one time I don't stack them this week, they go out there and disappoint again. I think the Dodgers, Morton's been a little bit shaky, good offense. Dodgers or Padres are probably going to go with my secondary stacks. And we haven't mentioned, similar to, overlooking Shane Bieber, kind of overlooking the fact that Dallas Keuchel is on this slate and I'm not stacking the Indians. Is that a mistake, or are you kind of in agreement here with these Indians?
I was going to say maybe you're overlooking them a little bit, but that would be the Brewers and the Guardians are kind of like the first two stacks in mine. Keuchel pitched well by his standards, had a decent start his first turn. Good for him. I'm not buying it yet. He's been dreadful for way too long to just say, oh, well, he had one decent start, so maybe we shouldn't attack him. And it was Seattle. Seattle has some of their own offensive issues. When the Guardians haven't been getting rained out, because it feels like they've gotten quite a few already this season, I mean, just look up and down this lineup, man. Like, Franmil Reyes still isn't even hitting yet, and this is a dangerous lineup. You got Jose Ramirez, Miles Strauss hitting well. We called this the other day when they played lefty pitching. Mercado, Owen Miller, these guys can put a hurt on Keuchel in a hurry. And realistically, outside of Ramirez, nobody's expensive at all.
Yeah, looking at Cleveland, I will have a stack or two of Cleveland. I was kind of reaching for the Dodgers or, going with San Diego because, Machado's been on fire.
Yeah.
He's actually not going to face a lefty here. But I do think Cleveland's going to be probably the most popular stack. You see Keuchel, it's kind of like it just triggers your brain, auto stack. But it's Keuchel. He's been crafty enough to stay in this league for so long that he gets outs. So it worries me a little bit. Due to ownership, do I want to go there? I probably will have a couple shares before we lock on Wednesday afternoon. But let's move to the main slate here. Looking at the pitching, it looks like to me both aces come from the same game, and it becomes a little bit more difficult. Do we want to stack our pitchers on DraftKings and pay up for both the guys? Do you want to choose one or the other? Look, the Mets swept the doubleheader. Scherzer had a no-hitter through 6, I believe. And now we get to see Rodon against Bassett. Obviously, I lean Rodon here. He's just been a stud this year, and he's got the pedigree here. Bassett, pitched great, though, too. So how do you decipher between those two aces? And is there anybody else on the slate that's creeping up that you think would be a good pairing with Rodon or Bassett?
I do lean Rodon. just because I think he has generally what is the higher strikeout upside.
for sure.
When you look, his velocity's up, which is pretty impressive considering there were some major shoulder concerns. I mean, he probably would have been right in the voting for Cy Young, potentially even won it last year with Garrett
Yep.
Cole kind of falling apart. Robbie Ray, not that he wasn't a deserving winner, but it was sort of by default in those last couple
De
weeks because
facto winner.
Cole
Yeah.
kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
Cole kind of imploded towards the end and is still struggling to figure things out with another really bad start tonight. So I don't necessarily think you go wrong with either one. I feel more comfortable with Rodon, and I think at least right now, maybe the field just kind of turns to Jose Barrios because he's 7,300, and it's just like in the back of your mind, somebody with Barrios' talent level shouldn't be 7,300. But I'm kind of looking at Merrill Kelly, and that's scary every single
There
time
you
out.
go. There
But
you go.
man, like he's really pitched well his first couple starts, and his pitch mix has changed. And like when we get into this early part of the season, we start to see trends emerging. We have to try and figure out quickly: is this just the first two starts? Is this something maybe a bit more realistic? And he's throwing his changeup more. And even last year, that was the best pitch as far as the whiff rate goes. And his velocity is up on the change and the four seam by almost 2 miles an hour. Do I think Merrill Kelly's like anything special? No, but he's still only 8K. And that really makes sense as an SP2 against the Washington offense that, outside of Juan Soto, like there's not exactly a lot of scary bats there.
Listen, I'll kind of lay it out to you perfectly. My four favorite pitchers come from two of the same games. It's Bassett and Rodon. I'll give Rodon the slight lean, even though the Mets have been hitting slightly better over the course of the season than San Fran has been hitting. Even though San Fran's been pitching well and hitting well and winning ball games, the Mets just a slight bit above them. Now, from a pitching standpoint, I'm not touching Barrios. I think he can get blown up again. If the weather's cold on the East Coast, maybe. I'd rather lose not playing Barrios than lose playing Barrios at this point in time. I would prefer to take either Kelly or even Eric Fetty. Both those guys have been impressive, and they're going against each other, and both those offenses suck. Like, they're terrible. Washington,
Yeah.
terrible. Arizona, terrible. You saw what happened on Tuesday. You see what happened all year long. Like, before the pricing adjusts for these terrible offenses, keep on attacking them. Attack
Yep.
Washington, Arizona, and Pittsburgh. Like, those are the three teams. Anytime I see them on the slate, I'm like, okay, who's pitching on them? Then you get Fetty's been consistently good, not just for this year. He's been consistently good last year too, man. He's not going to go out there and blow the doors off, but give me 15 to 20 this year from a pitcher on DraftKings, and I'll move forward. I'll try to win with my stacks and my bats. So I think Fetty and Kelly, I'll have equal shares of both. I think Kelly has more K upside here. Like you said, just get rid of Soto. He has more K upside. I lean him. He's cheaper. He's been amazing, and he showed some talent last year as well. So I love those guys. Don't love them, but I like those guys more than anybody else in the value department. Outside of those two guys, I was going to ask you about Barrios, but I'll tell you what, man. I got him more on the gas can side than the ace slide, and more on the. I don't want to touch him, man. And I really like Barrios. I really liked him a lot. If I did a lot of season longs this year, I probably would roster him, and I probably would have paid up for him, assuming he's on the Blue Jays, tons of wins. He's a stud pitcher. But until he proves that he can pitch in 2022, I'm not going to roster this dude against a good lineup in Boston. I know they're kind of quiet. I actually don't mind Toronto, Boston for some slate stacking, but I'm probably going to lean with two weak offenses and look at Minnesota and Kansas City. Is that where you're going with your late stacks, or do you have another team that you're targeting?
I definitely don't mind those stacks whatsoever. Man, until Daniel Lynch proves that he's a major league pitcher, it's kind of another one. Like it's just automatic. I want to attack, and it's a lot of the same guys that we've come to know against lefty pitching for the Minnesota Twins. It's Gary Sanchez. It's Carlos Correa, who's over there now. Miguel Sano got a day off today. He'll probably play tomorrow. Listen, you kind of know what you're getting with Sano.
I was
It's
going to
either going to
ask
be
you.
like
Let me ask you. I'm going to stop you right there, man. The dude is hitting under 100. His average is 0.67. He is terrible. The only day he did good, he somehow got a home run and a steal in the same game, which I would have bet $1 million against him ever stealing a base, getting on base, and doing all that. Do you roster him? Because he's most likely going to strike out 4 times, even at Daniel Lynch. Is he the guy in the stack? Because I was looking at Sanchez, super cheap. I love Urshela. He's actually going to be my favorite value of the entire slate. Slide up a Reese. Do you just have to de facto play Sano, or do you play a twin stack against a lefty without Sano?
I mean, you can certainly play it without Sano. Like, he's GPP only. You know exactly what you're getting because he's either going to, home run and double, or he's going to wear the golden sombrero and strike out 4 times. So, by no means is he a cash play, anything like that. But, against a bad lefty, it's kind of hard to not look at it and say, well, 2,600, man, all it takes is one swing of the bat and he pays off. And, I can pay up in all these other spots now, too. I really don't necessarily mind him.
Here's my suggestion. Make a Minnesota stack with him without Sano, because there's
100%.
probably equal probability he goes 0 for 5 with
Yes.
4 Ks, and there's an equal probability he can hit 2 home runs too. He just all or nothing with this dude, man. I don't know what's wrong with him. Not too long ago, he actually was a professional hitter, and now he's just like a softball player out there. That's like really, he's playing home run derby while people are throwing 95. Like he's not touching balls. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The KC side. Paddock, another guy that I once liked, that rookie year in San Diego. I thought he was going to be the next big arm. Is he fixed at all, or is he still broken? And does Kansas City have enough firepower to really do damage against, Paddock?
Yeah, I mean, Kansas City, can be kind of a hit and miss offense, just based on like who they're playing. Alberto Mondesi, again, kind of in that Sano category. Like, what you're going to get. There's a lot of empty spots with him, but when he gets on base 2-3 times and he steals a base or two, and he hits 2 doubles, like, he really pays off. He's never super cheap because of that stolen base upside, but Bobby Witt still 2,700. Sal Perez double donged tonight, 5,500. Catcher, it can be a little bit tough to pay up, but it's not impossible. If you're using your shallow from the Minnesota side of things, that's a spot you pay down at. You use Bobby Witt at third base. That's the spot you pay down at to kind of, get back to Sal Perez. Whit Merrifield is just, another kind of professional hitter. Hasn't really started out too well, but I don't think Whit Merrifield's going to hit $150 for too long.
Yeah, last game I want to talk about, Boston versus Toronto, man. You got Barrios and you got Pivetta. Over under 9.5 currently. Both these pitchers really struggled here. If you got to vote one side or the other, do you like a Toronto stack or a Boston stack? Or tell me it's pretty even down the middle. I do think they can go out there and prove to be the best game stack, possibly the best, single stack can come out of this game. How do you see this game playing out with over under 9.5? Barrios currently favored minus 135 when this game has an opening pitch, 7:10 at Fenway.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely the Toronto side of things that I would favor. And I know their lineup's a little bit weaker now. There's no Teoscar, there's no Danny Jansen, who at least for the first couple of games was swinging a white hot bat.
Don't sleep on this boy. Don't sleep on Collins, man. Another home run, man. This guy's
that's exactly right. I mean, 2,800. Again, if you're not going to pay up a catcher, you always want those cheap guys that can do well. And Zach Collins is hitting, in the Blue Jays lineup, whether it's the back end of things or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, this is still a difficult lineup. It's just shortened by a little bit. You still have Vlad, you still have Springer, Bichette. You have Gurriel, Chapman. You still have guys to worry about. And at the end of the day, even though I'm like a card-carrying member of I never play Barrios and DFS, he's still a better pitcher than Nick Pivetta at this point of their careers. Like, there's still a much better chance Barrios goes out and shoves for 6 innings than there is for Pivetta.
Yeah, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. I think this game could be – I'm not saying it's going to be super sneaky because these are two good offenses, but I can see people going the other way here and potentially ownership being split up. We didn't talk about Texas and Seattle. That game can get a little bit of ownership depending on weather. In Chicago, you might get some possible ownership between the Rays and the Cubs. I don't think anybody's going to be stacking the Mets or San Francisco with two aces going there. I'm going to move forward to, I kind of hinted at it, but I just want to hit on it again. If you need value on this slate, and say you did want to go with both aces, you go Rodon and Bassett, you got an average remaining player of 3.775 as far as your bats go. You can get Gary Sanchez. I'll throw Snow in there, even though I don't want to click his name. I'll throw in Urshela and Correa, and then let's throw in a Reese too. You can throw in Rodon, Bassett, and pretty much get, I would say, the best 5 bats on Minnesota. Sanchez, Sano, actually not the best 5, but the best potential bats, because Snow really does suck. I just want to keep saying that. Reese, Urshela, and Correa. And guess how much money you have left there? You can fill out your outfield now. What do you think the average remaining player, putting in Rodon and Bassett, which are two of the most expensive pitchers?
Probably about over 4,800.
Your math is pretty damn good. 49.66. So that means you can probably get any outfield combination you want. You can get Springer. You can get Merrifield. And look, I'm not going to do the math. You can get pretty much anybody you want if you go with that starting 5 for Minnesota, which technically you're getting probably one of the best teams that line up against one of the worst pitchers with potentially the 2 best pitchers on the slate. Now, if you go even wilder and go, say, Rodon and either Fetty or let's go Kelly with that starting lineup of those 5 Minnesota guys, your average is 5,500. So now you can literally get anybody you want and you're straight. Like there's barely that many players in the outfield over 5,500. You can mix and match. Say you want to take Sano out because he sucks. I get it. You can go with a 4-man Minnesota stack and get a real hitter at first base. Maybe a Vlad Guerrero. He's kind of good. You can maybe get, it's not that many, Schwindel's been on fire. Troy's been hitting pretty good too. So there's a lot of different options you go. But I like that Minnesota stack a lot because it's cheap. Makes sense. You got some power. You got some stolen base upside. Sano steals bases nowadays. I don't know when that happened, but he does do that.
Just remember, the last time you talk smack on a player is Marco Gonzalez. So
yeah,
I may have to bet Sano for a home run tomorrow at this point.
do the parlay home run with a stolen base. It's probably like plus 10,000 with 3 strikeouts. Like go over on the strikeouts, over on the stolen bases, over on the home runs. Probably pays off.
It's something wild.
Yeah. Bets though, if you're talking about bets, my favorite bet on the day is not on the main slate. It's not on the early slate. It's on one of these dumb turbo slates that I don't play. I don't know if you play Madam or not, but I like the Angels first 5. I like the Angels for the game. They've surprised me a bit as far as their lineup. They're starting to hit. What's also surprised me is Ohtani hasn't been good at pitching this year. It's early. I'm sure he'll figure things out. Super talented guy. He's going against Odorizzi, and the line is only minus 130 for the game right now. So give me the Angels first 5, my favorite bet of the day right now, and give me the Angels to win the game, minus 130. It worked on Tuesday. I said bet the Cardinals first 5. They cruised. Better for the game as well. Cruise. So let's go with 2 wins in a row. Any bets that you got so far, or anything that you're looking at on a Wednesday slate?
The line isn't up yet, but I know one that I'm going to be looking at is the Mackenzie Gore strikeouts, because I just don't think a player with his slider in the holster is going to throw it so little. Once again, I just don't see it. And then I'm kind of eyeing up the over on the Blue Jays Red Sox game, because the over is plus 100 right now, and it just needs to get to 10 between the 2 teams.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. 9.5 was like, oh, I want to do it, but I didn't pull the trigger yet. It was interested. I do like them for a stack, so it makes a lot of sense. You got to hop in our expert chat. Adam gives his cores every single day on Discord. So if you're not in there, make sure you do it. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Twitter, Win Daily Sports. Ton of content up there as well. And then also go to windailysports.com. Adam writes an article every day. We have a stack article every day. We have a prop article pretty much every day. NBA playoff coverage. PGA is not too far away. Teeing off Thursday. We have content up there for that as well. NASCAR around the corner. We got a new UFC show coming to our YouTube channel as well. So make sure you check it all out. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter. And make sure you check us out at windailysports.com. If you want a free week to check out our lineup optimizer, projection model, all the premium features, just use promo code RADIO, gets you a free week of there as well. We will be back tomorrow. It won't be me. It won't be Adam, but we got some special guests coming on. So definitely lock in with us tomorrow. Have a great 420. Adam, enjoy yourself, man. It's a holiday. If you need to take a break from some writing, man, you know what to do. I'll be enjoying myself as well. So everybody have a good night. And we are out of here.